All right, let's go to the next question here.
Okay.
What are the best parts of being Mallu that you guys like?
The food,
The culture,
in general.
dancing.
Community.
Community is a
We're
good
very
one.
So close to
community.
each other.
Do you feel that it's unique?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. It's so
And
much.
How do you get that feeling? Like when you deal with other people, like what is it that makes it feel unique? That's my question to you.
Like if you just go ahead and talk to like, I mean, South Indian culture in general is like similar from state to state, but there's obviously differences within each. Like if I talk to like someone from like one of my North Indian friends, they would not understand like some of the dishes and stuff, or like like they won't know what appam is. Like, and that's like such a like we have that like every morning here, you know, like it's a very like staple of Indian like food or like Mallu food, but they won't know that. Or like certain types of clothing, there's different names for clothing, like
Different styles.
different
we were
styles,
saying.
yeah. It's also just like the comedy too, like different jokes you
Yeah.
crack between your friends. Is
Well,
And our
so
television's
basically
better,
what you're saying is
so.
that it's good because you feel like there is something uniquely yours,
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
like
And
you
something
can-
that like is universally known. Like someone from Houston that's a Mallu would understand something that's the same joke as a Philly
Right.
from Mallu, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's like we're all intertwined, right? But like when you see like I guess North Indian friends, right? Someone from North India in a different part of America might have learned something completely different from someone because it's such a broader, like topic or community, right? And for us though, it's like I don't know. I see it as a small, tight community that's like connected between everyone.
When you guys go to Kerala and meet kids of your own age, do you have that same connection?
Sometimes I feel like it depends on the person, like or because like I feel like it also depends on our exposure here. So like if we have a lot of like
forget about given the exposure that you have right now.
okay,
All right, you went to Kerala right now, and you guys all been there, and you met people of your own age and everything, like you said, and your neighbors and everything. How easy was it to connect with them? I
low
mean,
key.
you guys are all Malus, right?
Pretty.
it was
Yeah,
pretty
it was
easy.
easy.
It's just like they just like for them it's been different, right? They don't know what America's like, right? So like they just want to know more about me and like I just want to know more about them. But like communication wise and like overall like overarching idea, right? It's all the same, right? So like we all have like the same background. It's just how we're living now or compared to like another person.
So you guys have the same feeling too? Like
Yeah, and it's
it
like-
took a little bit of time. What you're saying is it may take a little bit of time, but
Definitely.
it's not too hard for you guys to connect if you guys want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Is that initial starting trouble?
Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like
I mean, I feel
starting
like that's
trouble
with
first.
everybody though. Like
Yeah.
you're meeting somebody like new for the first, or like,
Yeah.
like I feel like even if you're American, like if you're trying to have a conversation, like I'm more of like a shy person until I get to know somebody well enough. So I just feel like it depends.
But with American, you do have social media. You have
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
to kind of keep you up to date with whatever's trending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like here's a question: what are the challenges of being a Mallu then? What do you think is like the
Challenges.
biggest challenge of being Mallu
In America.
in America,
Like,
or
I feel like
Desi
it's
in general?
low key like an identity crisis depending upon like who you grew up around with. Like
Yeah.
growing up, I went to like I lived in Northeast, so there's a lot of like Mallu people here. So my whole like life, like my whole friend group was majority Mallu, right? So it's not like I felt pretty different. Like I don't know what it was like for you guys growing like in like more
I
predominantly
felt
white
like
areas.
separated. So like where I
Yeah.
live, it's like there's more North Indians. So like when there's a different type of like Indian, right? Overall Desi, right? It's like who am I in this big community that they all have similarities, but I feel like I'm left out, right? So
You
like
do feel a little bit less.
yeah, 100%. Especially when I'm not with my own type of Desi, right? So like if I'm with Malus, like we're all connected, we're all understanding of each other, we all know everything about ourselves, right? But then when I'm in like another group, so like back at school, right? Initially in like when I was younger, I wouldn't be able to fit in because like I spoke one language, they spoke another. They have their own side jokes. I'm just there by myself, not understanding what they're talking about.
What about you girls?
I mean, I think that's the same way for high school.
Yeah.
Like, because we go to like a mostly white school, so there's always that disconnection. And like, I don't know, we have a club, but I feel
We
like our
have a
club
club,
You
is.
have
but
the
it's
Indo-Pak,
not. It's
don't
not
you?
even.
It's not even. I feel like it doesn't take as much priority as like a basketball team that they have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's very undermined.
So are you saying that is it harder for girls to kind of like relate to each other, or I
Um,
mean, guys is just it's a matter of getting in a sports team together or just mingling. Is it easy for guys to figure things out for as opposed to girls?
See, I think for girls the issue is gossiping. Gossiping, making
That-
assumptions
Like,
before you know.
I like to say all guys, like no matter age, are like
we just be chilling.
we just be, there's like a certain level of stupidity that like once you
We
reach
all
it-
achieved, yeah.
Yeah, we all like, just achieved, like
Facts.
no matter
Facts.
the age, like if you just gather a bunch of guys together, we all reach like no matter what. Like
It doesn't
level of
matter if you're Mallu or
yeah.
Northy or
Yeah.
just
anything
like a
of that sort,
certain
right?
level of stupidity. You just say like stupid stuff, or you just do stupid stuff, or go out. and
We've
just
all done the same stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like that.
It's like a shared experience. So
Yeah,
it's,
it's-
that part it's not hard, but it's like then once you start diving into like individual cultural differences, then it's kind of just like I have some Guju friends, and then it's like I just don't know anything about Guju culture until like college. Like I did not
I feel
know
like college
anything.
is like way different because in high school you're forced to be in a community, right? Like you're forced to be with the people that are around you because you're just with them for the next 4 years. But with college, you get to make your own community, right? Like I could be friends with people from another school while still going to my own school. While they're just stuck in one school, right? And they have to try and make friends between each other.
So college is basically that. College will give you the basic like ability to kind of explore
And find your identity.
find your little bit of your identity. So, like you said, how easy was it for you, like in music? Were you able to kind of like pick like a something within yourself? Like if you're good at music, or how, is this something that you can connect with other people?
100%. Because, like, they introduced me to things that I have never seen, right? Different genres of music, different types of music, different songs that I would have never heard just by a YouTube search, right? There's only so much I can see from my perspective compared to people that live that music, right? So, like, in that perspective, I learned so much from them. And they learned so much from me as my influence, like, that's from America, I give to them, like, music that they've, you know, they only have a certain picture of what America is, right? So, like, through me, I can relate to them while also giving them what my culture is and what my experience is in America.
What about you girls?
I mean, for me, like singing and stuff, I feel like it's the genre. Like you can make so much of an impact for other people using like music or dance or culture. Like you know what I mean? Like I feel like
a good dance.
like it helps. It helps a lot. Like with the, I don't know. I feel like it's a good way to connect. You know what I mean?
Here's the next question though. What do you want your culture within America, like within the community here itself? What do you think can help you get a little bit more knowledge about your culture? Like if you guys want to, it seems obvious that every one of you want to learn a little bit more. And instead of going to Kerala, is there something else that the community can do to expand a little bit on that?
Like for example, more Malayalam classes, like learning how to read.
I've heard about like our church.
Our church-
started-
Our
Not
church did.
forcing. Forget about church. Like
Yeah.
burdening church all too much
Oh,
as it
okay.
is.
Yeah.
Church has a role, right? The church
Yeah.
is more of a religious concept, but fortunately, they've been also doing a very social,
Yeah.
important role here. I'm talking about the community itself, whether it's the Indian organizations or.
I think maybe like hosting more events.
Yeah,
like so that we
events.
have more opportunities to meet and like, you know, talk about culture and like learn more about culture, because I feel like you can learn more about the Malayali culture like every day. You know what I mean? You can learn more about the Desi culture every day, but that happens from interactions, and you can't have interactions without like more
So there's
community
not enough
events.
do you think that our associations and our groups are they doing a good job targeting you guys? Because
I really don't like. I feel like a lot of the
no.
events and stuff is just the same stuff, like singing, dancing,
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
singing.
couple sports events here and there. But even the sports
Yeah.
events are dependent upon churches themselves and like the
Yeah.
connection, like Orthodox churches together,
Mm-hmm.
like Pentecostal churches together, Marthamite churches. Like it's like very
yeah, because you didn't know that there was a Hindu community.
Yeah,
here.
I
There's
did
a
not.
huge Hindu community here.
I did not.
You know, did you guys know that? I mean, let me give you an example. How many people here know who Ajay Nair is?
Oh
I've
yeah.
heard of
Hey, what?
Ajay Nair. How many people here know who heard of Arcadia University?
Yeah.
Arcadia, yeah.
Yes, you heard it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the
wait,
president
yeah.
of Arcadia University.
Oh my
He's a Mallu guy.
Oh.
He was in the news, I think.
Yeah, we interviewed him a couple of days ago. But here's the best part: he's a Philly kid. Was born and
Really?
raised
Oh.
here,
Mm-hmm.
and he's Hindu.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Mind blown, huh?
Mine is blown.
Yeah. There's a few other people, like there's some key players here and there, and it seems like you guys are not getting enough of that exposure. But, and he said the same thing too, But like he gave us a good example, and I want to hear your feedback on it. He said that he went through the same thing. Like him and I are about the same age, and we grew up in an environment where you had to like follow certain rules, right? If you didn't, like you guys is a little bit more flexible. But he also said that you can create your own little subculture. What do you think about that concept?
Only issue.
Like you don't have to be Mallu Mallu, but you know what I mean. Like, but how would you feel if you created your own little concept of being what it means to be Mallu in America?
It would be nice, but I feel like there's also a lot of judging from like whatever, like older people if you're not going by their own standard of what Mallu is.
Or
if that
their
makes
own
sense.
tradition.
There's so much
Yeah.
social pressure.
So
like,
yeah,
on-
Yeah.
that's a big
There's a lot of
one.
That's
social
huge.
pressures.
Yeah.
Bringing to that topic here, what do you think? Let's go to our parents here. What would you want your parents to do in terms of helping them better understand your lifestyle or the choice that you got to make?
I mean,
What would you wish that they would understand a little bit more better?
I think the idea that like, times are changing, so with times changing, like they should be more maybe open-minded to it. Like, like bring some of our traditions and then bring some of their traditions. Like it could be good, like being more like exposed to each side, I guess. So I guess open-mindedness plays a big part to it. Yeah, it's about.
What is your biggest? I mean, you can start with whatever you think is the biggest problem, and then what about you?
Like I said, like even like it's just the cultural difference. Like just certain things, it's just like our parents. Like it's not like they don't put the effort in, but it's just like they're so busy with their own lives, like their work and stuff. Then they have to provide for us. That's like they don't have time to accommodate themselves to American culture to the extent that we would like them to be.
Also, I feel like it's like Mallu. It's in our blood to be stubborn.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Exhibit A.
Because, but like for me, it depends on your parents as well, right? So
Yeah.
like my
Parents.
parents have always been open to change, right? Like for those who know them, they're very integrated into the culture, but also
Is it because
Well-
they went to school here? They
Yeah,
kind of
see,
know-
that's the
be
question
that,
though.
yeah.
you midway.
Does that make a
yeah.
difference though? Like,
Yeah,
if your
definitely.
parents went to school here, high school and college here, would it be easier for you guys to kind of talk to them and
Yes.
be open with.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're
Because
more.
they would
Say that.
understand. Like, they would be like, oh, like, okay, like, I went through this too. Like, okay, this is understandable. Like, your point of view is also making sense. But, like, since they're, like, not as, like, I don't know, like, exposed to
as
them.
opposed to
Yeah.
someone who's fresh off the boat, you know what I mean? Like,
It's not even like being fresh off the boat. I feel like when you reach a certain age, it's kind of like the stuff you grew up with is a lot more ingrained into your mind, if that makes sense. Like your mindset. So it's like if you come over here in high school when you're still pretty young, you're pretty like still like you can still mold to the American culture, the American understanding, the openness. But it's like, well, if you come here when you're like older to start a family here, it's like you already have like all this stuff from India, like the certain mindset.
Your mindset is already there.
Yeah, it's not like and then if you try integrating yourself into American culture, because of the way certain Americans are, they kind of shove you away instead of bringing you in. So it's
Just
a lot.
it's like just like you said, it's like priority, right?
Yeah.
Their priority, like for those who came just to work and to create a new life, is to work, make money,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
find stability in the next generations, right? But like for my parents who came in during high school, right? I feel like there is a sense of what we were talking about, the strictness, because they come from high school, they still live the same way they lived there. It's just now they have more pressure on them to make to make it out, successful because their parents are working so hard, right? But like for us, right now we are the generation to make that change, right? To integrate old tradition and new tradition, right? To find that like in between, so that people after us have both from back at home and from here.
from a girl's perspective, and, how difficult is it to communicate with your parents?
I communicate a lot with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because she also went to school here too.
Yeah, see,
So it's easier for me, I guess. But it is still hard to communicate because, like,
They're not going to understand everything.
they're not gonna understand everything. Yeah, never.
yeah, see, my mom, like, like, she's, like, very strict on values, culture, stuff like that. So she's not, like, I feel like if it was more open-minded, like, it would be easier to communicate. Like, I mean, I do communicate with my parents, but it's just, like, you know, some things, like, they can't understand, and some things they might not be open to understanding. But it also is just, like, I feel like their whole priority is, like, you know, being successful, going to college, making money, having a family, like, you know, providing for your family. Like, I feel like it's strict on those values and not really anything else. Like,
Are you afraid? Are you guys afraid if you don't follow that path?
Yeah.
yeah,
A little, yeah.
yeah.
Why is that?
Like, it's just kind of what I've known. Like, from, like, since I was a little kid, like, my parents have integrated, like, oh, make sure you get, like, good grades so you can get to a
Degree.
college and study
Yeah.
to be
Doctor,
blah, blah,
lawyer,
blah.
engineer,
Yeah.
Make
like
money.
those three. Yeah.
Like, me and
The
Josh
top
literally
three,
are...
right? You have doctor, engineer,
lawyer,
right?
engineer, the
Yeah.
top three.
Yeah, it's like, me and Josh are literally studying engineering. So it's like...
If you had the option, besides doctor, engineer, lawyer, what like the top three, would you go for another major? If
Oh,
you
yeah.
I
open
would
to it.
not actually. Like, even though I'm not like the
I know.
best engineer or whatever, like grades wise or whatever, like I'll admit I'm not like an academic, right? But like I still would not go with anything else but a science based like major, if that makes sense.
It's also it's like your parents. So my parents, at least, they stressed math and science when I was a
right.
kid.
Yeah.
Heavy.
So that made me like it eventually, right? We hated it in the beginning, but
Yeah.
eventually,
Oh, Kumon,
when-
bro, Kumon.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, that's a universal like.
Come on,
Thank
everybody.
God I didn't have to do
Experience.
that. Oh my
No.
God.
But like once you're forced to do it for so long, you start enjoying it. Right? That's with all things. And then once I fell in love with like science and math, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna do something that with that in my life, right? So stuff like
How
that.
about you, girl?
I feel like it also depends on the
Influence you.
person.
Person.
Yeah, like maybe like because like speaking from my perspective, I'm not the best at science. Like
I'm
it's
not the
never-
best
Well,
at
you're
all three.
multi-talented. Your parents help you do a lot of singing, help support the
singing.
and those kind of things like that, right?
Mhm.
So you do have a little bit of flexibility like that, but do they still stress on the educational
Yes.
part and everything? Of
Yeah.
course.
It's always been like
It's
that.
always I feel like it's always gonna be like that, and I feel like it's up to us when we go to college, like choosing a major. Like I feel like that's up to us now. Like, you know, what like I don't wanna be stuck doing something I won't be enjoying for the rest of my life. Like I
Very
think
good.
about it
Yeah.
that way, you know?
Yes,
like
you need
do
to
I
think
wanna
that
be
is
like
a good way to think.
do I want to be like 20 years down the line like, oh, like I don't want to be doing this anymore. Like I don't want to not do something I won't enjoy, you know? Because I feel like I wouldn't be putting my best foot forward. I wouldn't be enjoying the work I'm doing. And I feel like that wouldn't be a good way to show to your kid like, oh, mom's like doing like, I don't know, dentistry or something, but she doesn't enjoy doing it.
But
like
that thought process, isn't it harder? Because, like, especially in church, I mean, you know,
yeah.
it's very difficult.
And that's also what our parents were forced to do. They didn't like their job when they were younger, right?
Exactly.
Like
But
my
I-
grandparents worked at Cardone, right? We were
Oh,
talking about it
me
in the
too.
car. They hated that job, right? That's because of that they have so many health issues.
Yeah.
But that's all they knew. That's all they could do, right?
But-
to start something.
It's also based off of like kind of just survival in a sense, because it's like if you just come here straight from India, like unless you have like a proper job or like a certain degree to make like X amount of money or whatever, if you just come here trying to start anew, it's really hard to just dive into like a certain
Especially
type of
with no
job.
education like
Right.
that.
And so since our parents are able to like, luckily we're enough to be provided with most of our basic needs and stuff, we can focus on like the other stuff, like actually like picking the major we want or doing the stuff what we did. It's kind of like our parents just did like the hard stuff, doing what they didn't want, so we can have like
A better life.
Better
yeah,
life
like
here.
like we can have choices. Like they didn't have their choices, so that we can have ours.
And to your point, Josh, like that's all they knew when they came to America.
Yeah.
Right? Like Cardone or like being a nurse,
Mhm.
like that's all they knew, and they need to make ends meet, paycheck to paycheck, put food on the table for the kids and things like that. So that's a very good point that you brought up.
So let's go into our last question here, okay? And since we talked about, you know, conversations and everything else like that, how comfortable are you talking to your parents about relationships?
I think I
feel
would
like-
say it's
Oh, look at
better
that.
for
Million
me.
dollar
Everybody
question.
just like...
That's very-
right
that's
now.
very-
Everyone's turning red. Everyone's turning red. Everyone's turning red here.
I would say like
Let's
not-
start with something very, very simple. From a cultural standpoint, how easy it is from a relationship standpoint? Like
The word easy doesn't even like.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not in the dictionary when it
it's
comes
not
to
in
Mallu
the-
and relationships. It's not in the.
Because it's either it feels like this at least. Either you follow all like your parents' guidelines and all your like cultural guidelines, and you get accepted, or you get excommunicated.
Yeah, like
And that's
like
it.
interracial, like
it's
that's
not-
There's
a
no
thing.
in between.
It's not even
No.
like an in between. It's not even like we're just making it up. It's like we've seen it too. Like
it's
in our
happened,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to bring church up again, but in our churches itself, like sometimes when people are a little more like quote unquote Americanized or certain like things, they kind of just get not like, and no one's been like, yo, get out of church, but it's kind of like
You
just
can
like
see it.
You
They
can
talk,
see it
yeah.
You can
happen.
tell,
Yeah.
like, or like people gossiping. Like I said before, like even church is supposed to be like, you know, we pray to God and we leave. But no, like it's always
They just
gonna
go up
be.
like, Josh,
Well,
did
so
you hear
let's
what
for- I
Paul
mean,
Josh,
was
you
saying?
hear what
Did
she
you hear?
did? Like,
And
yeah, I heard.
forget about let's forget about church though, but even the community itself, having a relationship, being part of a relationship, isn't easy. It's hard.
It's not like
I mean-
relation. It depends upon parents.
Because somehow
Yeah.
the word gets to Texas, then the word gets to
Yeah.
Los
Uganda.
Angeles. Yeah, like
Eventually,
In
I'll
a
meet you
day.
from back
eventually all
home.
of Kerala knows. It's on the news. My Upichan's watching in the morning.
oh no,
I'm like, what's going on? I told one person.
oh my God.
So it's like it's all of that because that's also to the point where we're all such a tight community,
Yeah.
right? When one thing happens, everyone knows.
Right.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that's why
Do you
relationships are
think
so
things are
hard.
changing though? Because I do see a lot more.
I do think they-
Racial.
I see a lot more
interracial
relationships.
I think they
relationships
are
and things like
changing,
that.
yeah. But it's also like a parent by parent. Like if I'm talking from like a youngin's point of view, like it's a parent by parent
Youngin.
basis. Like some
So
parents
they
they're cool
want
with
you
like
to
certain
marry
things.
a good Mallu Christian
Mallu
girl,
Christian
right?
Yeah.
girl,
Like, they
with
put
X
that in your
degree,
head.
with X family background, like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, you can't blame them. I mean,
Nah,
obviously.
they're just looking out for us, but it's also kind of a little unrealistic because it's like if I'm here in America and I'm surrounded by a certain type of
Americans,
culture
like-
and certain type of people, you can't. It's very hard for me to just confine to their standards of or their expectations because it's just like, it's not like I'm back home. You can't just tell me to go like find like yeah.
Do you look at their relationships? I mean, like your grandparents, your parents, and your uncles and everything. Have you ever wondered how those relationships, is this the type of relationships I want, or is it, like
Oh.
I can
does
see-
the thought process ever go
Like
through your head?
arranged marriage.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
Something huge that like I learned recently is like, so obviously a lot of the culture here is dating, right?
Right.
But there it's courtship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either
Courtship.
it's like you're scanning the person in front of you to see if they fit all your guidelines, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like
and if they don't, then the next house,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They're right next door.
You just keep going.
Yeah, you just keep-
get
yeah.
to
You
the
just
block.
keep
You don't
going
have-
until
you
you
don't have
find
a
somebody.
choice,
Like,
But
right?
that's not.
So-
That's like a very hit or miss type of things because then it's like sometimes I'll hear stories about like X person and X person and their relation. Like you know how Josh was just like stuff will spread once someone
Yeah.
hears it.
Yeah.
It'll start spreading. So it's like in our generation or like the older generations, it's like if it's like kind of like a courtship type of thing. If you don't get courted to the right type of person,
You can't. That's why
You
if
can't
you don't
go
have
back. Like,
here.
or have the right mindset, like like we had the X differences, but we can make it work. If it's kind of just like we have X differences, I do not want to be with this person, like, and you're married to them, it's not going to work out.
And with our guidelines, we're in there's only a small pool of people that fits it all, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question though. You have cousins, you got brothers that are older than you, or you got family members and people that you know. How hard has it been for them? I mean, people who are of marriage age. Do you know people like that? You know, who like, how did you? What kind of stories did you hear from them?
I'm one of the older cousins in my family, like that I'm like close with. So like my one cousin, he's older. He married a Mallu Christian girl. I don't really know like the exact details of how that happened, but like I don't know.
Very hush hush. Is that what it is?
You're
No,
just like,
I just don't know.
where
They
and
met. They met like I don't know, not too long ago. They liked each other and they ended up working out. But it's also he's also a lot older too, if that makes sense. Like he's like 28.
It's like, where are you finding these people?
Bill Mill.
Yeah.
You know.
huh?
What idea?
Yo, Mill, his age group was Shoddy.com putting
Shoddy.com.
Shoddy.com.
Shoddy.
Nah.
Oh.
Nah, that's
Shaddi.
On the website,
Shoddy.
not even the app.
Yeah, it was
you
an
know?
app.
Shoddy. I thought
heard
you said
shoddy.
shoddy.
I was like, no, that's shoddy.
Shawty. I'll be a Philly.
That's the new one. That's the new one.
It was either that or they put like an advertisement in the
In a
Malayalam
newspaper.
Yeah.
In the newspapers back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
I-
God.
I feel like it's like I don't know. Some people they just don't end up finding someone for a while, so then they just settle with like
Whoever they
Yeah.
get.
whoever. But it's not like they're like super like
They're
Bollywood
proactive in
movie type of
finding
love.
someone.
It's kind of just like
What
oh
is
we're
your
like
generation's opinion about marriage in general?
I
It's
don't-
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harder.
Difficult. Because, like, you're coming from somewhere where your parents married at a young age, right? And then you hear the whole thing changes, right? Now you're expected to marry at like 26, 27, 28, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like now you have that pressure where they're not going to, I mean, they're looking for someone, but they're not going to tell you they're looking for someone for you to marry, right? So back at home, they're like, okay, you have to go there and
You
look at
have
them.
to do this.
Right, you have to do this, you have to do that. Here, it's like, I'm not going to tell you have to, but if you do what I don't want you to do, I'm gonna
Say
look the other
I'll let
way.
you know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like that type of pressure you have, and it's like mentally stressing, right? And
Do you
then
think there's more pressure on a guy or there's more pressure on a girl?
Girl, I think.
I mean, I feel like
Because I feel like
kinda
there's always that like
depends.
reputation that you can't mess
Yeah.
up or like.
But that's also.
I mean, I feel like that's for guys
because this is the
too.
one place where it's like same.
Same. This is like the
same
It's a
actually,
guy.
yeah.
And it's not like
There's
It's a
pressure,
guy
equal
and a
pressure
girl.
on both ends of the spectrum. Is
Yeah.
what you're saying, you know, but from a cultural perspective is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like all the
definitely.
other answers, it's skewed one way, skewed the other way. This, it's like same amount. So it like causes mental stress, right? Like we see it, no one talks about it,
All right,
obviously, because
I
like,
want to ask about because we're gonna do a segment on mental stress. I just want
Okay.
5 minutes. I know
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
running out of time, but when you say about mental stress, you know, how serious of an issue are you talking about? Is there actual like are you having conversations with guys and friends and girls who are going through this kind of ordeal?
I feel like it's more so like we're talking to friends about what we feel rather than them actually going through it. So like I don't, for me, like as he said, I'm like one of the older cousins.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone to look up to, right? So like everyone's looking up to me and what I'm gonna do,
Oh,
right? So
So
you
the
have that
pressure's
pressure
there.
as well, exactly.
okay.
So it's like now they're like, okay, depending on what he's gonna do, he's gonna change. Is he gonna change everything for us, or is he gonna keep continuing the same pressure that we have to feel later on?
Like,
right?
is it gonna keep the pattern up? Like, oh, he did that. So if I do something different, then people are gonna be like, oh, like, you know, like, can I do that? Can I not do that? You know.
But then for you, it's like if I'm going to be the leader of change, right? Am I going to be able to withstand all the criticism that's going to come after it?
it's not even just like criticism either. It's also like a little shunning too.
Yeah,
like it's just
100%.
like you just pushed
We are-
away, kind of. Like you'll be
Malu's are rude
accepted.
people.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like it's a little more the older generation though. Like our generation's more accepting to certain things, but the older generation has like a lot more of a traditional mindset.
When you say older generation, you mean like your grandparents?
My parents,
Grandparents.
grandparents, yeah.
Well, the parents thing, it's like
Eh.
it can go either way.
You can
Yes.
go either way depending
Yeah.
on you know.
Depending on your parents. So like my parents would be fine with it. It's like they
made it in high school or something.
Exactly.
Like that, right?
So like my parents have come up to me and said, if you ever do experience something like this, I want you to talk to me about it, right? And there's no judgment here. But then it's different from
Yeah,
say
not mine.
a Ben's parents, right? So a Ben's parents might think a different way because of certain experiences they've had, right? So it's like all
Do you
different.
think it's an issue that should be brought to the forefront even more by our community?
I feel like it should.
Yeah,
'cause
definitely.
if marriage is something that's so heavy in like Mallu culture, and you're kind of just like thrown into it in the middle of nowhere, like you get your degree. Like I feel like it's like when
All
you're
you
young,
know
it's like
is
Straight
grades.
out of school.
All you know is
like,
school.
Young,
Yeah.
it's grades. College, it's grades, and then right after college, it's like getting a little
Marriage.
settled into
Yeah.
your into
Job.
your job first, and then after you've been settled, they hit you with the, you know, your cousin just got married. It's you know, it's your
Yeah.
turn.
It's your
Like, and you're just kind of like,
Family.
my turn. I didn't even know I was in like
Line.
next
The
up
line,
in the
yeah.
line. Yeah. So it's like you just kind of get just thrown into it.
Yeah. So to wrap it up here, what can the older generation do to help your future growth in this culture?
What do
Be
you
more
want from
accepting.
us?
Yeah.
More
Your parents.
More
accepting,
accepting.
More
support,
accepting,
more
yeah.
decisions that you make.
I don't know, maybe communicate more too. Like I feel like if they're like, I don't know, not accepting or like more willing to learn, you know, like because like I don't know who said it, but like Mallu people are stubborn. So I feel like if they were more accepting to learn like our point of view, because I know the older generation, they're like stuck on their like traditions, like stuff they've grown up with.
They
If
have
they're-
their reasons for
yeah,
it.
they have their reasons as well. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like they should also take the willingness to learn. Like, I'm willing to learn like their reasons behind it, but I feel like they should also be willing to learn our reasons behind it, like why we chose to like be more open, or like I feel like they should learn more about it, be more willing to learn and stuff. So
What do you guys think?
Well, see, like for me, it's like I'm lucky, thank God, because like I'm in a situation where I'm okay with where I am, right? So it's like I'm glad. I praise God every day for how lucky I am in that sort of situation, right? But I know how hard it is for other people because of the stories I hear, because of my friends telling me, right? So it's like I hope that they come to the realization that change has to happen. You can't stop change, right? You can't live in a world where it's going to be the same static, same thing every day, the same pattern every day. It's not possible.
How about you, Isha?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, because for me, like, the question. Wait. The question was like, like if the older generation could like.
Like, how can they help you kind of grow in the culture?
I guess just accepting what you want to do, because like I know like my grandma wants me to be like a doctor and everything, but my parents are different. Like they want me to do whatever I like. So like just like accepting, like the world is changing. So I guess they should start learning how to change a little bit, not be stuck in like the past, I guess.
But like I also feel like it's hard to ask our grandparents to change.
right.
Right.
It is also
Because
yeah.
almost 90% of their life they live the same way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Our parents, though, that's where change can actually occur. It's like more plausible for it to happen, right? So it's like, I mean, depending on your age, of course, but
Right.
like for us at least, we're like, okay, I guess you can never expect what your parents are going to do, but you want them to change according to the climate of America, right? So it's like, what's going to happen when I do something that they don't like, right? I hope that they understand the influence that I'm getting in this new area, in this new scenario, so they can understand more.
I feel
Is
like
the American culture making it harder? Because in the American culture, it's there's a huge dramatic change. Is that what you guys are worried about? Because because what like you have to step out into the American culture, and the American culture has gone way beyond the marriage concept and everything else like that. But you guys do still believe in marriage. Is that what I'm hearing correctly on this
Yeah.
thing?
100%. Even though it doesn't, that's not what's like portrayed to us. We see so much other stuff nowadays, especially nowadays. But like, I guess that our roots help us stay in that belief,
Correct.
like of marriage, of like love, of all these different things. But when you're looking at America, there are some things we just have to like turn a blind eye, right? It's just so we don't have to look at the negatives of that our home country doesn't show us, right? So like the love that shows us from Kerala, we got to use in order to blind ourselves from the negatives of America.
I also feel like our parents could just trust us a little bit more. Like that's like a big issue. It's kind of like they kind of don't realize sometimes that like you're actually growing as a person, and you kind of have your own, not challenges, but you have your own decision making and your own reasons for certain things. So it's like kind of just trust, like, okay, like my son, daughter knows exactly, like kind of knows what they're doing. They might not have the exact answer right now, but if this is the decision they chose, there has to be a reasonable reason behind it. It has to be reasonable because I'm the one that raised them, right? So they're kind of like a reflection of my parenting. So if they, if I raise them the right way, they should be able to make
The
trustful
right decisions.
decisions, even if it's not in line with my own values. It should be based upon like reason and reasonable, assumptions or reasonable whatever. So they should just, a lot of trust would be very helpful.
All right. You guys have any other things that you want to put out there that you feel
No.
that your generation needs to put out? Now's an opportunity.
Now is the time.
Now's
It'd
the
be nice
time.
if you
It's a
told
good
us this
opportunity.
before the podcast.
Right? I need
If
some
there's
time
a
to
complaint
think.
that you guys want to
Yeah.
put out for your head right now, now's the time.
Like, you can be out of pocket.
Oh.
I know. So you guys are
He said that because of
Ben.
Ben's here.
Yeah. I just said just lay back, trust in your generation more. Like
Yeah.
the way of life is different. You guys grew up differently than us, but a lot of trust is very important. Like if we're supposed to be growing up in America, different lifestyle, it's very new for us too, because we're getting one type of thing from you guys, and then American culture is telling us like
Another thing.
so we have to figure out a way to like combine the two in the right way. So just trusting that we're making the right decisions.
My thing is be patient, right?
Yeah,
So like
patience.
with time, everything will come
Right.
to what's gonna happen, right? So like, even though our parents may be stubborn at us when we're at a younger age, for a reason, right? For discipline, eventually they'll get lighter once they understand everything, right? And change is gonna happen. We've been saying this the whole podcast, right? This whole idea of change, and eventually time will have to change them, right? Like they're not immune to change, right? So eventually, if you be patient, if you take your time, right, everything will happen for the good, right? Your
Girls?
parents only want the good.
Yeah, I think just like being more open-minded and like learning to accept the fact that it's not always going to be the same, but also accepting the fact that like, you know, sometimes change is good. You know, there's good changes, there's bad changes, but we trust our parents enough to let them help us decide what we, you know, like they're like they play a big factor in our lives. Like, you know, like
Sure.
this isn't good. This is not good.
There are
but
always going to be a. Big,
there are always going to be a big factor,
Yeah.
at least they're always going to be a big factor for me in my life, at least like showing me what decision I should make, what I shouldn't do. But also I feel like they should also be willing to let us change, because at the end of the day they did put us in this American like influence. They did place us here, so I feel like it's a good idea to like also let us be like, you know,
Yeah,
let us have that change or like willingness to change as well. So
I agree with that. And like everyone also experiences different things,
Mhm.
so not everyone's gonna relate to me.
Mhm.
Or like, because like I grew up with people who like are more Americanized
Yeah,
parents,
exactly.
right? And some people like grew up like her with parents who like are more on the Mallu side, right?
Really,
so
It's all out of love.
Do you guys the question about entertainment I have right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys relate to the entertainment that's coming out of Kerala and out of India right now?
entertainment like sports, music.
Like,
Movies.
Television.
movies and music.
Music.
I think the movies itself are changing. Like I
In
feel
a
like
good
it's
way
so
or
much
bad
more
way?
Yeah.
American. Like it's not like the
Bollywood,
classics.
or is it
Malayalam cinema or like
Malayalam
just
cinema. I mean, I haven't really been watching cinemas lately, to be honest.
Me, right?
But I feel like the whole aspect of like, I don't know, like you know, like classics, like I don't know, Shah Rukh Khan, like the Bollywood, like
yeah.
stuff
the
like that is
classics are
changing.
always there.
I mean, yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's just like the way that they decided to like create a picture of it now. You know, like I feel like it's like different. I don't know.
Like, does it
Some ways.
relate to you more now?
More,
or-
I think it. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been watching
That's
Malayalam
the
movies
thing.
lately,
Have you guys been
so
watching?
Not really.
Not recently.
Yeah, not
I watched the old
I
recently.
ones.
will watch
Older
it with my
movies?
grandparents. My
That's what I'm
parents, I
hearing,
guess.
too. You guys there's not much of your generation actually watching these things.
yeah, because
the
now
question
Some are
Right.
good. Like
Yeah.
some,
Some
are
are
like,
good.
some are good movies. Like
Joseph. I really like that one. That was a
Yeah.
really good movie.
Yeah, so there's some South Indian movies, but in general, like like I couldn't watch RR after the first 5 minutes. I just stopped. I just couldn't.
I
deal with
think it was just the music that was popular. Not gonna
I
lie.
liked
Seriously
RR.
couldn't, yeah.
It wasn't bad.
It was
I
okay.
just feel like it's a little bit too much for my liking. It depends on what people like, I guess.
Music wise, what is your taste in music right now?
I don't
Is it
like.
classics
Shreya
or
Ghoshal.
I like classics.
Shreya
Classics.
Do you
Ghoshal.
like
Shreya
classics?
Ghoshal?
Shreya
So-
Ghoshal.
Shreya
so
Ghoshal is on
70s,
top.
90s music? Or
More like evergreen.
Classic, yeah.
Like evergreen hits.
Well,
Yeah,
for you,
sure.
evergreen is what I grew
Yeah.
up in.
give some
Yeah.
examples of evergreen?
Isha sings a lot.
Yeah,
Evergreen.
I,
So
there was a
Sugoni,
specific song.
Talabatam,
So good.
Yatra.
That whole
Every-
YouTube
like-
channel. All of the,
What about what do you call Ilayaraja? What about Ilayaraja?
Oh,
Or
Do you
SPB?
know who
oh,
Ilayaraja is?
I know.
SB.
You know who SP Balasubramanian
Yeah.
is?
that's but the thing
I
is,
can't think
my
of a
grandpa, my dad is huge on like listening. He can't sing for his life, but he's great at listening to music, right? So like
What
he
about
always
old Bollywood like Kishore Kumar, Mohammad Rafi?
all time. Like I've recently, so as we said before, right? We've grown up in the Mallu culture, so I've only sang Malayalam all my life
Yeah.
Sure.
until now, where I'm being
it
more.
seems to me there's a huge component of that culture that hasn't been exposed.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Bollywood,
100%.
too, right?
Definitely.
Because it feels like we're closed in a box.
It is in the box, but even now, like today's music, Is that something you guys listen to, or is it
Not, I mean, personally, no.
no?
I'm more of like the
Old.
Old.
like I don't know, like
It's because of what you've been listening to at home. That's what
It
what's
could
been
be.
exposed to. Probably,
Like to be
right?
brutally honest, like I don't even listen to English songs. Like,
Yeah, I don't listen to
I
English
don't know any
songs
pop
either.
music. I don't know none
In
of that.
terms of exposure, is this because you see culture on TikTok? Like you might see an old school song pop up on TikTok, you think, oh, that's a banger.
Yeah,
it
I
could
also-
be.
that's
I think
also-
social media does play a big role in this
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, what's trending, like what song is like a
What's
hit
trending
here.
goes, yeah.
Like I don't know.
I don't listen to Malayalam music like that, but more like just like Desi or Bollywood music is what
Yeah,
I
I
listen to,
also-
and I like
Bollywood is.
yeah.
Don't they sound alike all Southern nowadays?
Yeah,
I guess.
it does.
Yeah.
Like you can
It
barely
does,
tell.
though.
Like sometimes it's like I feel like Malayalam
Especially
songs they
Bollywood
have a
music.
more
Oh my
Bollywood
God.
aspect. Like it's more like upbeat. Like I feel like, you know, like you're thinking about
Or
like
like
Yeshadas, like the
EDM.
classical.
Well,
like there's no
a
more
difference,
notes.
Like you could see the difference. Well, old music, there's a difference between Malayalam or Tamil, whether it's the
Yeah.
song or the music or the language itself. And Hindi itself was different.
Different.
We don't like my generation doesn't see that difference because it's all co-mingled right now. But the question to you guys is that are that entertainment cycle right now, is it impacting you? Is it part of your life right now? Is it, you know, is that like before? That's a very crucial element of who you are as Daisies, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But it doesn't seem like you guys are not even watching it.
I wish it was more.
I
Like,
wish
I wish
it was
yeah.
more like in our lives than it is now, definitely. But I think it like school stuff right now is like the priority, I guess. So like I don't know, to be honest. But
So much of the culture is muted because you are doing something else, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
find time. Like
Yeah.
I barely find time to like for myself, right?
So this goes
Especially during
back to the
school.
argument if the cultural association, these associations or people actually gave you an opportunity.
Yeah,
to
more events, more
interact and that kind of level. Would you guys be interested?
I feel like for
in?
events,
Yeah.
it should just be more kind of gathering in that sense. Not like an event with a purpose of like singing or dancing or whatever, but kind of just like a gathering, like you
Mingling.
know, like
mingling, yeah.
That's
like a
lot-
social hour.
Because then you make friends there, or like you'll just see people at more and more events, and the more times you see a person, like the more you're
Would you
familiar
guys
with them.
be interested in, say, for example, if a movie star or a singer like Asia just came out and we conducted a public podcast or a Q&A session?
Ooh.
Would that be really
That'd be
cool?
pretty
for
cool.
you?
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would you love it?
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
You'd be able to kind of like.
Because like those are the icons of that generation, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I feel like-
we dream of trying to like talk to them and understanding what they've been through,
Okay.
right? In order to better understand for us.
Exactly. Like I feel like also they're more like exposed to different things, so it'd be interesting. I don't know, maybe it'll be interesting for them to get like a kind of our generation kind of side.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
thank you
guys.
so much,
Appreciate
guys.
the help.
Thank
A lot
you.
of
Thank you.
insight into this thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.